2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Siffle. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe. This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. As always, check out all things The Ticket at theticketfm.com. The tube of you, anywhere you get your podcast your podcast shows, your podcast platforms, Amazon Prime, Television, or turn the radio dial to 93.7. Also, the social medias, Facebook, X, and the like. The Adam Carriker Show where you're going to get unique insight, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I are going to have a lot of fun in the process. Grab your lunch. Come join us. What you hear is Husker sports, college football, and sports in general. Today's show, in large part, is Nebraska football, college football based. It's interesting because, August through probably like the Super Bowl, like the football dominates the conversation. Around January, I would say people start to turn a little bit towards basketball. And then once the Super Bowl ends, it really focuses on basketball. Obviously, there's volleyball. Obviously, there's other sports. We try to talk as many sports on this show as we possibly can. And then as spring kind of rolls around, then you got baseball, you got softball, track, tennis, etc. When summer rolls around and there aren't really a whole lot of college sports left. Now, the College World Series is still going on. There's still some things going on out there. But in large part, a lot of the Nebraska sports seasons have concluded with the exception of a few college sports across the country. When summer rolls around, that's when I personally, you got the NBA Finals, by the way, Pacers, don't say it ain't so, Jake. Pacers are up 2-1. That's when I really start to pay attention to the NBA. If I'm being honest with you, I just am like, are you going to catch my interest this year or not? Maybe, maybe not. Some years I'm like, okay, I'll stay tuned. Some years I'm like, I'm kind of out. This year I'm tuned. I'm tuned in. I walked in the house. My son, who has not played basketball in like 3 years, has the game on. I'm like, yes. I sit right next to him on the couch. I think the Thunder were actually ahead at that point. I walked in it was fairly early on in the first quarter. Then a little bit later on, they tied it up. The Pacers end up getting the win. But it's interesting. You go throughout the year and you kind of learn what is catching my interest, Jake's interest, and most importantly, the people's interest at home and what you're talking about. You got the NBA Finals. Major League Baseball's going on. So we talk about that a little bit, but that really kind of ramps up a little bit towards the postseason, so to speak. But it's a lot of off-season football talk as we start to look ahead. I mean, what are we like 70 some days, 75, 79 days away from kickoff? Dude, how excited do you get knowing that it's almost 3 full months? But when you say and hear 70 some days, I think it's 79, 78, you're like, man, that's not that far away. Now, as a child, it terrifies me because that meant I was going back to school. As a football fan, it excites me because it means football season is right around the corner. But throughout the summers, you start to work on your tan, hang by the pool, do all these things, Jake. You start to look ahead to football season. How excited do you get?
Oh, I mean, for me, always when I was a kid, it was the football magazines. There would be Lindy's or Athlon. As soon as those came out, I knew it was okay for me to start geeking about football coming back. I'd dive through them. I'd make my predictions. And now with so much changing every day in college football, not that those, I don't still love those. I'm definitely going to get one. But there's just going to be so much information that changes by then. So might be better to kind of, use that magazine as a guide and then look up what might have changed for those teams from moving forward. But no, that's exciting. I'm glad you brought up the school factor too, because I've said this before, and it's less so now, but it still holds true, I suppose, is when they devalue the regular season, it took away a little bit from it, but it still is, to me, the most exciting time in sports. Just my own fandom, right? I understand March Madness, all that sort of stuff. People would say in general, that's more exciting, but the opening weekend of college football Maybe it's how long you wait. Maybe it's the summer. That'll always only even overshadowed going back to school. And it was my favorite time of the year, and it still is. Opening weekend in college football is incredible.
Labor Day weekend, pretty much. I know you got week 0, and I'm still advocating all the G5 teams, Army, Navy, week 0, everything I've already allocated before. I'm sure we'll go through it again. The playoff format that I would prefer based on the ones that seem realistic as far as options right now. And again, at some point, I will, if I could have the whiteboard and just say, this is what I want. I don't care what Notre Dame thinks. I don't care what the SEC or Big Ten thinks. I can just do the college football world the way that I want. I'm just going to tell you right now, the Irish join a conference, and we have 4 balanced power conferences, not the 2 and everybody else situation that we've got. I want to get to that in July. Okay, I've mentioned that before, but I want to get to that as well. But you start to look ahead to the college football season. You start to get excited. I think my favorite times of the year, it'd be a toss-up, fall or summer. Like my favorite time weather-wise is summer. The pool and hanging out. I noticed you didn't talk about working on your tan, but that's okay. I know you do. You lather it up before you come in here. You got the Hulkster tan and baby oil going on before you come in the studios.
I get burned more than tan.
Do you? Yeah. You're one of those people that just gets burned?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Well, so for me, I'd probably edge towards summer weather-wise, but as far as my favorite time of year, it's the fall. I enjoy the weather, but it's football. It is football. All right. And I'm one of those guys, I love different weather. So when the winter rolls around, I get excited about the winter and I get into basketball, and I don't hate 0-degree days. Not a fan of the wind. Who is? Outside of that, dude, I love snow, I love cold weather, and I love change in seasons. So that's one of the things I love about Nebraska. So we got a lot to talk about today. All right, Nebraska's defense. Just real quick, Jake, do you think they're being overlooked in all this offseason talk? Because you don't hear much about them.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the coordinator change, some personnel loss up front, and maybe a little bit of a step down from the year before. You could argue. I think all that kind of plays into it. But this is a team the last couple of years if the defense wasn't where it was, we'd be having a whole different conversation. It was a defensive-led team the first couple of years under Matt Rule.
Yeah, definitely not led by the special teams, not per se led by the offense. So I would say defensive-led is a fair way of putting that. Not much talk about the defense. And if you listen to some things, like, I don't know why. I tend to remember Matt Rule's press conferences all the way back to December really, really well. And I think it's because we'll go through the press conferences and I'll have notes. Now, I don't have those notes anymore. Once we talk about them, I'll keep some things that stick out to me, like what he said about the offensive line being a highlight in spring. Ding, ding, that matters. We're going to have one of the best D-lines around. That matters. When a coach says stuff like that, we weren't even in pads yet, which I said at the time with the D-line, I was kind of like, okay. Like, those things stick out. They matter to me. Year 3 jump. So certain things stick out to me. But I tend to remember the press conferences really, really well. And there was one particular one in spring where he talked about, everybody talks about offense. Everybody looks at the offense. He goes, become playoff time. And he pointed to Georgia, Texas in the SEC championship game specifically. He said that was about defense, and defense won that game for Georgia, whose backup quarterback came in at halftime, is going to be their starter so far. At least that's what everyone believes coming into this year, Gunnar Stockton. And you got nobody really believing in the poor kid, all right? Paul Feinbaum basically says on national television they got a gigantic hole at quarterback. Kirby Smart goes on his show, I think later that day down in Destin at SEC coaches meetings or whatever it was a couple weeks ago. And it's like Feinbaum says something. He's like, I don't know if you heard what I said. And Smart goes, yeah, we heard you. We heard you loud and clear. But I'm still on the show. I'm still coming on the show. Did you happen to see the interaction with him and Lane, by the way?
Oh, I've seen, the back and forth between those.
The one at Destin? Oh, man. Those two are hilarious. I don't know if they could keep it up over time, but sporadically, they need to do more stuff together. They do, because Feinbaum just buries Lane. Lane points it out and then thanks him for helping his career and about motivation and how nobody watches Feinbaum's show. And they just go back and forth. And then at the end of it, Lane goes, so have we started yet? Like, he didn't even know they were live. And I fully believe him, too. He thought it was just back and forth banter before they went on air. But no, they were on air, and it was the show. And it's one of my favorite things I've seen. If you get a chance, look it up on YouTube. But defense is something that's where Rule's heart truly is. He's been an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, O-line coach, D-line coach. Like, he's coached all these different things, obviously a head coach. But defense is where his heart is, and that's what he truly believes is the difference maker. While everybody's talking about the offense, because that's what's exciting, he'll tell you, when it comes down to the big games, It's the defense that he believes makes the difference. So Nebraska's defense being a little bit overlooked this offseason. How vital is the defense? We expect the offense to be better. We expect the special teams to be better. I think those are very fair anticipations with the amount of talent that we brought in on offense. Okay, with the return of Dillon coming back for year 2, Holgerson having a full offseason and working with this offense as well as at the end of last year. You got Eckler coming in on special teams. And it's not a shot at anybody. The barometer is so low for special teams that I've literally just said, last year I said if we could just be right below average, I'd be happy. If we could be average this year, that'd be a gigantic step up, and then hopefully continue to improve on that going forward, whether it's throughout the season or going into the following season. The defense is vital, and I think it's been overlooked a little bit. I think you make fair points. New defensive coordinator. John Butler is a lot more to himself than per se Rule or Holgerson is. He's not going to open up. He's not going to give you anything. I get the feeling he just assumed you don't bother him and talk to him and speak to him, acknowledge he exists. I'm putting my perspective on it, but I think he just wants to coach, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you got a new coordinator. You got a lot of new faces on that defense, starting with a lot of new faces up front on the defensive line. So how's that going to look? What are some of the question marks? What are some of the things we feel good about? So we're going to talk about that in today's show. I have a clip that I teased several times last week. I didn't mean to tease it. We just ran out of time. Loaded show. All right. Entitled Fan Bases clip. And they take shots at all 20 fan bases. We're in there. I just thought it was funny because the shots he takes at every fan base, there's some truth in it. So it contains some humor, in my opinion. And then odds to win the Big Ten. Where does Nebraska rank? We got 18 all the way down to 1, just like we did the helmets yesterday. People seem to enjoy the helmet discussion yesterday. What'd you think?
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, I don't know why, but that's something I could talk about. I think we could have done like 3 hours on it.
My favorite part was when we couldn't think of what to call Oregon's helmet and someone texted in, it's chrome. Adam, it's chrome. Like they might have said, it's chrome, you idiot. It's chrome. Like that's how I read it. But you saw me because you were talking when I read it and I just started laughing. Like stuff like that cracks me up. But let's kick it off, man. NBA Finals, right off the top. I said this is the time of year when I tune into the NBA. All right, are you interesting this year or not? I've told you, this is interesting to me. And there are stars being born. There are stars being made right now in these NBA Finals. And it's because of the competition, the intensity coming down to the end, the back and forth, the battle. I mean, this is hard fought. People are scratching and clawing and fighting for first ever championships, not just for these individuals, but for their franchises, for these fan bases. This is intriguing stuff. You got the favorite, Oklahoma City, the number 1 seed, all right, versus Indiana, who I believe they were the 4 seed out of the East, either 3 or 4. I believe they were the 4, so a bit of the underdog, a bit of overlooked. All right, they had a decent record during the season, 50-32, but Oklahoma City, 68-14, considerably better. So you look at this, and on its surface, you wouldn't find it incredibly intriguing. But if you've watched these games, what did I say yesterday? I don't have the stat in front of me. The most viewed NBA game in the past 28 years was I think Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Game 3 just happened last night. Did you check it out, Jake?
Yeah, it was another incredible game. The comeback kids strike again with Indiana. And what's exciting about this team, again, is the team aspect. You know, when they lose, it's easy to pile up on them. And when they lost, Halliburton's got to match SGA and all that. But you kind of get reminded. I mean, he's the MVP, and Halliburton is a good overall player. But to match him point for point is going to be pretty tough. So you're going to need other people to step up. And that's exactly what happened last night. Benedict Mathurin, who has been kind of injured throughout a lot of this run, came in and scored 27 points. He joins LeBron James, Tony Parker, Kobe Bryant, and Magic Johnson and Kawhi Leonard as players under 22 or younger to score more than 25 points. So that's quite a group to be with. And then you have TJ McConnell go out and score 10 points, 5 assists to go along with 5 steals, which is a number no player has ever done in an NBA Finals game either. So you got like historic numbers off the bench last night from the Pacers, and they're able to come back and take the lead. And I think it will hopefully finally shut down the whole, well, if they don't win tonight, then it's over. Or I mean, because OKC is Pacers are such an underdog that was kind of the talk. Every game is like, they have to win. Well, now they've won 2, and you've played 3, so they can play with OKC. It's proven at this point.
I completely agree. Do you think this series goes at least 6 games?
I do.
Man, I'd love a 7-game series. I'm sitting here debating if I'm just going to predict 7 games. I'm just going to say it's going to go 7 games. I'm still rooting for the Pacers. I still think Oklahoma City wins, but now I'm going to predict Oklahoma City wins, but now I'm going to predict 7 games. Like, this could be Caitlin Clark, and the rivalry with Angel Reese has elevated the WNBA to, I don't want to say a level of recognition, but being talked about at a level it's never been talked about before. This series potentially could get the NBA being talked about more than it's been talked about. I don't want to say 28 years like that stat was, but at least in half a decade. I think the last time the NBA was probably getting to the point where it's being talked about now, been talked about this much, at least in circles and my circles, people I talk to, was probably, and I forget what year this was, but when the Cavs came down from 3-1 to beat the 73-win Golden State team. Like, that's the last time I remember that. That was probably more than 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, the NBA needs new stars. Like LeBron James, one of the top 5 of all time. Easy. You want to put him on the Mount Rushmore. You want to have the GOAT debate. Whatever. All right, Steph Curry, greatest shooter of all time, which is truly saying something when you think about the pure shooters that have been in the NBA. But though, we need new stars to emerge. We need new faces of the league to emerge. We need something new, and we need something brought back. The new is some new stars, along with the guys we already have. All right, and what we need brought back is what I grew up watching. I don't know, we got to go the bad boy Pistons, although I love those teams. All right, Bill Laimbeer was still one of my favorite players to this day. One of the dirtiest ever, but I'm a D lineman. What can I say? You know, but intensity and all those things. So you look at the game last night, because when I tuned in, and I'm looking at the box score here, all right, Oklahoma City was up by 8. And when I tuned in, it was about 7 or 8 that they were up by 8 after the first quarter, down by 4 at halftime. Indiana outscores them by 12 points in the second quarter. This was really a game of first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. So Indiana leads by 4 at halftime. OKC outscores Indiana by 9, almost double digits in the third quarter, have a 5-point lead going in the fourth quarter. And then Indiana, I don't want to say pulls away or anything like that, but outscores OKC 32-18 in the final quarter, and they end up winning 116-107. So this was really about first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And one of my favorite parts about watching this game, like, I love, like, in 2020, when there were no fans in the stands, it was not the same watching sports, okay? I love not only when there's fans in the stands, but when fans are going crazy. And the Indiana Pacer fans, man, they were into it last night, and it was fun to watch. OKC fans were the same way in Oklahoma City. All right, you got any real quick final thoughts here before we move on from the NBA Finals? Benedict, as you mentioned, 27 points off the bench. At one point in the second quarter, they showed a graphic. Indiana had outscored the Thunder's bench 19-0. That's crazy. That's a crazy advantage for the Pacers. All right. Would you ever name your kid Benedict?
I don't think so.
All right. Unnecessary random sidebar. But as I'm reading the name, I'm just like, I don't know. But anyways, scored 27 points off the bench. Like you said, Tyrese Halliburton finished with 22 points, 11 assists, 9 rebounds. Pretty much, a triple-double. So great games. You got any final thoughts before we move on there, Jake?
No, I just like your point about the crowd. That was the first finals game in Indianapolis, but, for the Pacers in over, like 25 years. So that was huge. You have Reggie Miller on the sideline. Obviously, that's kind of big throughout this playoff run. Halliburton's already done the choke signal. So he was taking pictures with the Halliburton family after the game. So it's just cool. I mean, the Pacers it's kind of odd. They're just an organization that is easy to cheer for, I guess. I mean, they just kind of usually have some fun teams. I mean, the brawl at the Palace may be set aside, but and even that team was pretty fun. They had a lot of good characteristics and
depends on your point of view there.
Yeah, but in any case, it's just kind of cool to see a franchise that, you always kind of say always the bridesmaids, never the bride, is stepping up to kind of take their spot here. And yeah, I mean, if this goes, it's kind of turned now, right? Where this whole series, Pacers must win this one. Pacers must win this one. Pacers go up 3-1. on Friday's game, if they're able to win that one, man, that completely changes the kind of the outlook of the series and the way people have been looking at it. So huge opportunity for the Pacers. And I it's not like OKC is such a giant, like great dynasty or anything that you root against them. But I've found myself like going into this kind of thing, and I don't really know who I'm going to go for. The Pacers have really kind of stood out as and now I sound like a front runner, but it's been a fun story.
Mm-hmm. What if the Pacers go up 3-1? What if the tables get turned? What if they take the next game, go up 3-1? What are your thoughts on that? Because nobody would have seen that coming.
No. It could be crazy. That's why you said game 7. I said, man, if you got game 6 in Indy with the Pacers a chance to clinch, it's tough to see it. It's tough to see it going 7.
Also, I just wanted game 7. I'm just going to throw that out there. There's a little bit of bias in there as well. Rick Carlisle has been trying. He's been the Pacers coach for over 20 years. The last time they were in the NBA Finals, I saw a picture. He had hair, a lot more hair then. A little bit younger, as you might imagine. But he's been there for 20 years trying to win a finals championship as the Pacers head coach. Man, it should be sweet if they got it done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to break, when we come back, we'll talk Big Ten title favorites in football, college football. What are the odds Nebraska's? What are the odds Nebraska's been given as far as being a Big Ten contender? All right. And I got this graphic that I'm looking at in front of me as well. And you might probably have seen this. College football trajectory over the next 2 seasons via ESPN's Adam Rittenberg. Nebraska is nowhere on here. We're talking Matt Rule year 3 and 4 now. We'll talk about those things when we come back. But before we head to break, real quick, just remember, everyone has bad days. Don't give up. Pause. Rest. Restart. But never quit. We'll be right back.
There are great Mexican restaurants all over town, but there is one that is especially worth the drive from any part of town. Tacos Los Hermanos at 70th and Havelock. Cool off this summer with a delicious horchata or other special drinks. And grab one of their famous taco boxes for a group of friends or coworkers to enjoy, full of birria tacos and many other options. Don't forget their great desserts like tres leches, flan, and cheesecake. Get to Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. To honor the new store opening, A1 is offering $25 off any service over $300, $50 off services over $500, and $75 off services that total over $750, all through July 31st. Schedule your appointment today at A1AutoLincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Midwest Bank is now hiring in Lincoln. They have multiple banking positions open and are looking for dynamic individuals passionate about helping others and building relationships. With a family-friendly culture, competitive benefits, and unique perks, Midwest Bank is a great place to start a new career. Apply today at midwest.bank. Midwest Bank is an equal opportunity employer, member FDIC.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Husker fans, the 2025 Nebraska football season is right around the corner, and we need your support in the Sea of Red at Memorial Stadium this fall. You can now purchase a Husker football 3-game mini plan for only $185. This plan includes tickets to Michigan or USC, plus Akron or Houston Christian, and either Michigan State, Northwestern, or Iowa. Tickets are only available while supplies last. To purchase your Husker football 3-game mini plan today, or for more information, visit huskers.com/tickets. Go Big Red!
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Attention all Wings fans. Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. Jake, did you know? Well, let's start with this. Do you know how tall Muggsy Bogues was?
Yeah, not very tall. Was he 5'4" something?
5'3", so
Yeah.
pretty much spot on. Played for 14 years in the NBA at 5'3". And then he was in the Space Jam movie. So, of course, they had him and Sean Bradley. Remember Sean Bradley was like
right.
7'6". So, of course, they had the two most, at the time, most opposite when it comes to height-wise players that they could possibly find to put in that Space Jam movie. All right. Jordan's Space Jam or LeBron's Space Jam? Which one was better?
Oh, I'm going to be honest. I haven't even watched the entire LeBron Space Jam. It was it was interesting to check in, see how how it would look. And apologies to see it right. I know he played a role in that, but yeah, the original Space Jam.
I'm curious what people think. What's the number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
The original Space Jam with Michael Jordan, or the latest one that came out a few years ago with LeBron James? For me personally, the LeBron one got kind of, I don't want to say weird, but it got kind of convoluted and weird. And I was just like, I'm not sure what's going on right now, to be honest with you. At a certain point, I preferred the Jordan Space Jam. I also loved Looney Tunes growing up when I was a kid, but I'm curious to see what the fine folks at home have to say. Now, before we start to dive into these Big Ten favorites, all right, ESPN predicts Big Ten order of finish ahead of the 2025 college football season. What are your thoughts on Adam Rittenberg? All right. College football trajectory over the next 2 seasons. Who he projects would be the best teams in the country. There's 25 on here, and Nebraska's not one of them, which is a little surprising to me. I figured we'd be somewhere on the list. You're starting to see us be on quite a few lists, national pundits list, preseason top 25 for this year, which I'd prefer we just be off of it. But you start to project 2 years down the road. I thought we had a better chance of being on there over the next 2 years because you would expect Matt Rule's teams to progressively just get better. Not on here. Number 1, gag me you. Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon. All right, Notre Dame. That's your top 5. Random question. What is Nebraska's all-time record versus Oregon? Do you know?
I do not know.
6-2.
Okay.
I did not even know we'd played that many times.
Yeah.
We're 6-2 versus the Mighty Ducks. Ohio State is 10-2, or Oklahoma's 7-1. Sacramento or St. Mary's is 8-3. So that must be going back a long ways right there. Wake Forest is 2-0. Boise State was undefeated against Oregon until last fall. 3-1. They were 3-0 prior to that. People undervalue and underestimate Boise State. I'm telling you what. Washington, Oregon's good buddies, lead that series 63-49. Georgia is 2-0. But the one that stood out to me obviously was Nebraska and then St. Mary's. St. Mary's being 8-3, Nebraska being 6-2 against Oregon. All right, we'll round out the top 10. Give me your quick thoughts. So you got Gag Me You, Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Notre Dame. Do you have any idea how much it hurt me to actually acknowledge that Texas's helmets are not god awful yesterday? You know how much that hurt me?
Yeah, it's tough. They're ugly, but I guess if you step out of the Nebraska lens, they look good.
It was so bad we immediately had to go right to break after I said it. I was like, I can't deal with this. So I almost used the L word. I actually don't hate their helmets. I'm going to phrase it that way. It's the burnt orange I have a hard time with in general. So the helmets by themselves, if they just stop there, it'd be okay. It's. Do you like their all white uniforms?
I think
there was an
really
LO going to come out there.
I really think that's the best look. Yeah.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it, ladies and gentlemen. I love how you stopped yourself, just boom, full stop right there. So the all whites aren't bad. My wife is not a fan because you tend to be able to see things on the lower pant region when it's all white and sweat starts happening. She's like, really? Do I have to see that? I'm like, well, I don't look there. I don't know why she's just watching the game. She watches it differently than I do, obviously. The burnt orange, I'm not thrilled with. The helmets, I don't hate. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, Jake. All right. So, Gag Me You won Texas, Georgia, Oregon, Notre Dame. 6 through 10. Penn State, over the next 2 seasons. This is ESPN's Adam Rittenberg's projection of the top 25 teams in the country over the next 2 seasons. Penn State 6, Clemson 7. Now, I'm going to stop there. Clemson may very well make a national title game this year. I think they're going to win the ACC. I think, unlike last year, they'll unequivocally probably be the best team in the ACC unless Florida State does Florida State type things again. Who has any idea what to expect out of Florida State this year? I mean, seriously. How do you go from being undefeated in the regular season to the very next year you beat one Division I team on your entire schedule? They were 2-10. One of those wins was FCS. I'm like, how does that happen? How's that even possible? I guess I heard somewhere the only time that's ever happened where a school goes from double-digit wins and a certain amount of wins, I think it was 12, to minus 11 in the win category the following season versus D1 teams. Remember how Southern Miss used to be pretty good?
Yeah.
I forget the name of the head coach. I wasn't interested enough to write it down or remember it. I just remember somebody mentioned it to me yesterday. They lost the first year this head coach took over. They lost 11 more games than they had the previous season, and they've never been the same since. Because I remember when I was growing up, Southern Miss was a pretty good non-power team, so to speak, and they kind of fell off. So Clemson, I fully expect them to be, regardless of how you seed teams, probably a top 5, top 4 seed in the country. I expect them to be good. A year from now, they're going to be hurting. A lot of those guys are upperclassmen. Cade Klubnik's going to be a senior. They haven't recruited top 25 classes out of high school for about 3 or 4 years. As we know, Dabo Swinney has dabbled a little bit, pun intended, in the transfer portal, but not a lot. He can't depend on anything he's gotten out of the transfer portal because he ain't done much. My fear is 2 seasons from now, Clemson will actually take the nosedive that people have been accusing them of taking, even though they still win 10, 11 games a year, 9, 10 games a year. So over a 2-year period, I would not have Clemson anywhere near this high. LSU, I'm going to tell you right now, my dark horse out of the SEC is LSU. My dark horse out of the Big 12 is Texas Tech. I'm just letting folks know right now. I actually have Texas Tech winning the Big 12. I have Clemson winning the ACC. Again, unless Florida State steps up. Miami There's always that team with talent. You just never know what Cristobal is going to do sometimes on game days. Remember that Georgia Tech game from a couple of years ago? Just take a knee. Don't hand it off, fumble, and then give away the game, literally. LSU, I think it's the best roster they've had in 5 years, and they could take the SEC this year. We'll see. Tennessee at 9, Alabama 10. Alabama's always loaded. Thoughts on the top 10 over the next 2 years based on Adam Rittenberg's projections here, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the teams that you would expect, right? I mean, and I think that's kind of interesting. We go through all these different changes in college football, and usually there's still, no matter what, 6 or 7 teams, and sometimes those teams can kind of change that are going to be leaders, year in and year out to viably make it to the college football playoffs and win the whole thing. So, all those names sound like good bets to me.
The only one surprised me a little bit is Clemson. Okay. Outside of that, like you said, none of them surprised me. At 11, you got Miami. Not a shocker there. I feel like Miami's always that program that's just right there, ready to take the next step. And they haven't done it yet for about 20 years. Obviously, they did it for quite a while. Are they going to finally take it at some point? All right. And this one was a little bit surprising to me. Arizona State at 12. Did that surprise you?
That does surprise me. I mean, their head coach, a very young guy, obviously has been able to turn around quite really quickly. Kenny Dillingham there, and so he's kind of speaking as if it's going to be the next big thing in Tempe, and he hopes so. But yeah, and I don't love Miami there either, just because like you said, I've seen it before. Several coaches have gone in there and won a year here and there, but without Cam Ward, we'll see. Like I said, I don't trust the head coach necessarily, so I think that's a little bit of a. Some people would argue they're not quite a blue blood, but whatever, in that discussion type of overrating of Miami, I don't think that they're going to be a top 12 program the next couple of years.
So you have Carson Beck, transferred from Georgia. They're paying him $4 million. That's the rumor and innuendo anyways. Tore the UCL, but I think obviously they plan on him being able to play come this fall. Can Carson Beck, remember, Georgia had more drops from their receivers than any other team in the country. For the first time ever since Kirby Smart took over as a head coach, they ranked in the 100s in rushing offense. Like, it was a defensive team. When they beat Texas and Austin, it was defense. I just talked earlier about how when they beat him in the SEC title game, it was defense. Carson Beck didn't play the best, but he didn't have hardly any help. Can he, in his own way, be Cam Ward-esque if he's got more help, which I believe he will on offense? It's the defense of Miami that everybody's questioning. Can he be Cam Ward-esque since he'll probably have more help at Miami this upcoming season? And does that change your opinion on this?
Well, and I think that's part of the reason they're probably up here is they have been one of the NIL spenders. They're kind of one of those teams. So you're kind of, you kind of figure in that era, maybe they can step it up. They did get like Damian Martinez last year at running back from Oregon State. But, Carson Beck, I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like there is any quarterback coming back this year that I am just floored with. Like, Carson Beck's fine. It's been good. Like you said, varying levels of, you have all that talent around you at Georgia. And then last year, it wasn't so much helping him out in that conversation, and he struggled. So I don't know. I like I said, a lot of it has to do with Cristobal. I just don't trust that Cristobal is going to make the right decisions on game day to get the most out of that team, to get as many wins as maybe they should. And the other thing is, again, you've had Mark Richt, whoever it might be over years. You had teams that you can win at Miami, but consistently winning has been difficult. Going back to, I guess, Larry Coker, but Butch Davis, I'd give more of the credit to.
Dude, I forgot Mark Richt was even there. After his Georgia days, he did go to Miami. I forgot about that. I'll tell you what, Cristobal can recruit. I don't question his ability to recruit. Like you said, Miami's been spending in the transfer portal. It's one thing to be able to recruit. You've got to be able to, I'm not saying he can't coach. It's the game day coaching that you wonder about. Like you've talked about, I've talked about. Those are two different things. They've got the talent at Miami. They ain't lacking for talent. I'm a little bit surprised Miami is this high. I'm definitely surprised Arizona State is this high, although Kenny Dillingham came out and said we're going to be the next blue blood, which would be awesome to me. I would love for some new fresh faces in the college football playoff each year. Michigan's at 13. Personally, I would probably put Michigan in front of Miami and Arizona State if it were me. At 14 is SMU, and this is where I start to look around like there's a lot of one-year recency bias in this. 2 years ago, Arizona State wouldn't have sniffed this. SMU wouldn't have sniffed this. SMU was a non-Power 4 team that got handled in the Pinstripe Bowl when they played Boston College. They go to the ACC. Hey, they took Clemson down to the wire. What was it, a 50-plus yard field goal Clemson had to make to win the ACC championship game? Go to the college football playoff. That obviously doesn't go well up at Penn State for SMU. They're doing great things. But to have them in the top 15 and Nebraska not in the top 25, and then you got Arizona State, who I think Kenny Dillingham's a great coach, but there's a lot of one-year recency bias in this. I would definitely not have them ahead of Florida. Florida's a 15. I don't know how you put SMU ahead of Florida on this, other than Florida plays the most brutal schedule you can ever think of every year. All right, Ole Miss at 16. Again, SMU in front of Florida and Ole Miss? Are you surprised by this?
To a degree. I mean, Ole Miss especially. I think Ole Miss should be way up higher. I would put them probably at 11. I mean, they but
ahead of Miami.
Yeah. Florida, though, their coach as well as they did in respond last year. I mean, if they win 7 games, I don't even know if he's safe there in Gainesville. So that's why I could see like a 2-year projection. He might have a new coach in 2 years.
Man, I tell you what, Florida, if you look at them and you talk to people who've been down there and been there this offseason and were there throughout the last season, nothing but great things to say. Every single person believes that they're a playoff roster. Every single person. You look at the schedule, I've talked about it a million times, it's brutal. I believe if he can win 7-8 games, he's had a successful season, and then they can get out of this 2-year cycle because conference schedules are in 2-year cycles. Get out of this brutal 2-year cycle. And as much as I love seeing him play Florida State and Miami, maybe don't continue to schedule Miami in the offseason or in your non-con, which I love as a fan. I think he'll still be there, and then maybe they can take off. We're going to finish off this list and get to the Big Ten countdown of where they believe that teams will finish in the Big Ten when we come back.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com. Country music star Rodney Atkins will be performing at the Icebox on Friday, June 20th. Tickets start at $30 and doors open at 7 p.m. The capacity is only 3,000, so don't wait. Buy your tickets at lincolnstars.com today before it sells out.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see mainly sunny skies, be breezy and hot with an afternoon high near 91. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a light breeze, low near 64. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies and light winds. Another hot afternoon with a high near 92. I'm meteorologist Kyle Buck from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
I want to ride. Do you want to ride? June is officially riding month at Rod's Power Sports, Nebraska's largest volume Honda Power Sports dealership. Come in now and take advantage of huge savings and a great inventory selection during Rod's I Want to Ride celebration days all month long. Simply schedule a qualified demo ride on one of their new Honda motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, or side-by-sides, or purchase a new or used vehicle, and you get a free custom I Want to Ride t-shirt. Plus, all month long, they have 10% discounts on all wearables, parts, accessories, and oil change kits when purchased with a new or used Honda. Free refreshments served each Saturday morning in June. Just show up and say, I want to ride, and they'll fix you up with some free stuff and help you pick out that new ride. Come ride with Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln or online at rodspowersports.com. For your safety, read the owner's manual and always wear a helmet and eye protection. Honda Power Sports vehicles are for riders 16 years and older. Honda recommends that all ATV riders take a training course.
Midwest Bank is now hiring in Lincoln. They have multiple banking positions open and are looking for dynamic individuals passionate about helping others and building relationships. With a family-friendly culture, competitive benefits, and unique perks, Midwest Bank is a great place to start a new career. Apply today at midwest.bank. Midwest Bank is an equal opportunity employer, member FDIC.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and the hail sale has been a huge success, but is winding down. We still though have several units with huge discounts. Plus, we have brand new Sierras, $14,000 off list, or starting at $37,105, or 0.9% APR on select new models. Yes, you heard right. $14,000 off or 0.9% APR on new Sierras starting at $37,105. So please check us out at cobblecars.com. All deals with roof credit, stock number G289358.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Now's the best time to lock in early order savings on a new John Deere planter from Landmark Implement during the early order program. Plant for success with the latest technology, including Exact Emerge high-speed planters that help you cover more acres with greater precision and productivity. Order your planter for next year now to unlock the biggest savings of the season. Contact your local Landmark location today and experience the Landmark difference.
Summer is here, and it's time for Acres postseason planter parts sale. Save big on all in-stock John Deere planter parts. Get an automatic 10% off your purchase, or get 15% off when you spend $5,000 or more. Buy over $10,000 and get a whopping 20% off. Visit your local Acres location today and stock up on planter parts and save thousands. Hurry, this sale ends August 31st or while supplies last. Acres, your John Deere dealer.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Jake, we have some textuals. Space Jam, which movie do the people prefer?
Yeah, it's pretty uniform so far. Let's see. From our text line, 6696 says the original hands down. John says Jordan's all the way. Ryan P says, in my opinion, Space Jam is the most overrated movie. So he's kind of going on a different idea there. But Greg and Tilton says MJ will remain undefeated in the LeBron competitions, even in space.
All right, so nobody is a particular fan of the newest Space Jam with LeBron James. Again, there was a time during the movie where I was like, I'm not really sure what's going on. And I think I started to zone out, which then did not help me catch back up to the movie as well. I'm not saying it wasn't a decent movie. It's not a movie I would ever watch again. I've probably seen the original Space Jam at least 10 times.
Well, and to be fair, all of us are kind of thinking maybe either your childhood or at least, a nostalgic type of feel with the original. One thing that could have helped, I think the second one is more Marvin the Martian. I might vote more. There's more Marvin the Martian. Big Marvin the Martian fan.
Dude, Marvin the Martian is the man. All right. So you start to go through, we're going to go through these last, 17 through 25 college football projections over the next 2 seasons via ESPN. And I just started to look at some of these recruiting rankings because I'm like, all right. And, maybe these recruits will or won't be contributing. Recruits are contributing sooner than we've ever seen in college football, and they have been for quite a while now. Maybe they'll contribute as far as a year from now. Maybe they won't. USC is running away with the number 1 class in the country. They have 28 commits. Ohio State's at number 2 with 15. Like USC has got quite the class coming in. Here comes Clemson. They have not had a top 25 class in a while. They're ranked number 4 right now. Now, we're obviously very early on in the 2026 recruiting cycle. Nebraska's all the way down at 69, but after the 7-on-7 tournament from last week, dude, it's hard not to expect some really good players to commit soon. So that's obviously going to change and jump up for Nebraska. But you got Clemson at number 4, a team that I have some doubts about. And this is where you have to keep in mind we're early on. You skim down a little bit. Rutgers is at 9. So you got to keep that in mind. Shame on me for doubting SMU. They're at 11. I mean, they are the next superpower. I'm telling you what. Arizona State's at 15, dude. Arizona State. Kansas, not basketball, football is at 17. All right, let's see if anybody else sticks out here. Iowa State at 29. So let's continue down this list. All right. College football trajections over the next 2 seasons, the programs that will have the best next 2 college football seasons coming up via ESPN's Adam Rittenberg. Illinois at 17. Sounds about right to me. Got no qualms with it. You?
I hope that's the case, and I think it will be with Brett Bielema there. There, by the way, they picked up another Nebraska kid, so they've got 2 in their upcoming class. So that's kind of interesting. We know Iowa State's already been kind of taking over recruiting, but I hope so. Illinois had a really good season a couple of years ago with Witherspoon and some of those guys, and weren't able to repeat that. So we'll see if they're able to kind of keep that magic contained there in Champaign this time around.
They were just outside the playoff bubble last year by a fair piece. There was a bunch of whiny SEC teams in front of them. By the way, there's a whiny SEC team right behind them, probably because they actually beat them in the bowl game. South Carolina right behind Illinois, who Illinois beat on the field. Number 19 is Iowa State. And if you look at Iowa State, they're on here recruiting rankings-wise as well. I'm going to find it. What did you give your thoughts at Iowa State being a top 20 team over the next 2 years while I look for this?
Yeah, I mean, these are some of the kind of the more ideas that I would like to go on. There's certain some ones I have more faith in the others, but you look at the Big 12. That's kind of where the opening. That's where I kind of see Arizona State, Iowa State. You're going to choose somebody from these conferences. Even Clemson, like you said, maybe thought they were a little high, but somebody's got to take hold of that ACC. This is the Big 12 where it's open. Iowa State and Arizona State coming out of that championship game, and both of them have some pretty good coaches, or at least, in Iowa State's case, especially one of their best coaches all time already. But it's a similar type of thing with Illinois, where he's had them kind of up and down there a little bit in Ames. He needs to be able to contain that and keep it going.
Hey, Matt Campbell's done a great job there. I mean, they just played for a conference championship. They've actually won a conference title a few years ago, played in the Fiesta Bowl versus Oregon that year. He's done a great job at Iowa State. Indiana at 20. I mean, I'm fine with it. We have no idea whether Curt Cignetti can sustain what he did last year. Even, 9 wins or better. They were 11-1 in the regular season. So I'm fine with it. A lot of question marks. How sustainable is what Curt Cignetti did last year going forward? We'll find out. Kansas State at 21. I find myself rooting for Kansas State. Kleinman, the head coach, the former North Dakota State head coach, he's a good coach. Run the ball, defense, blue collar, smash mouth football, developing players who stay there for 3, 4, 5 years. So what helps the school like Kansas State is you've got guys who've been in the program for a while. And then you got other schools where guys are transferring in and out, which has been proven to work at times. All right, we don't know about the sustainability of that, a la Florida State and some of the other schools. We'll see how they bounce back. But you got a lot of these schools with younger, more highly recruited, so you could argue more talented guys, but maybe not the experience and years of development. And it reminds me to a degree of Nebraska back in the day. And I find myself rooting for Kansas State, which would have made me throw up all over the place when I was playing, but now they're in a completely different conference. And I find myself rooting for them because in a way, they kind of remind me of what I'd like Nebraska to be, what Nebraska's been in the past at times. And I kind of like their program now. I like their head coach too. What do you think?
Yeah, that definitely helps. I mean, I think there's a little bit of a frustration with these other schools that are, like you said, kind of have gone down Nebraska's path, or at least borrowed kind of that tough mentality in their program. You look at the Kansas States, the Wisconsins, Iowa. It's frustrating to see these programs all do things that Nebraska should or could be doing in the least. So I think that is there too. But I agree with you. I mean, I think it's probably still the nostalgia and kind of thinking back. I find myself cheering for a lot of the original Big 8 or the Big 12 teams of the past.
All right. And just going back to Iowa State, they have the 29th ranked recruiting class as of right now for 2026. At number 22 is Missouri. They're in the SEC, so they're dead to me. But I have no problem with them at 22. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I would be, Coach Drinkwitz has done a good job there, but there's just a few other teams I might have added before then.
23, our good buddies, Iowa. And I'm looking at these recruiting rankings, and obviously there's no divisions anymore. But for the 11 years that we were in the Big Ten West, we had the top-ranked recruiting class out of all the teams in the Big Ten West 9 times. The other 2 years were Wisconsin, and we were number 2. They were number 1, we were number 2. Every other year, we had the number 1 ranked recruiting class. Just because I'm that dude that's going to look up stupid stuff like this, I was like, if we still had a Big Ten West, who would have the top-ranked recruiting class in the Big Ten West? Right now, it would be Iowa. If there was still a Big Ten West, they have the 36th ranked recruiting class in the country. Again, we're very early on in all of this, and I recognize that. Wisconsin is at 38. Northwestern is at, and I'm just going old Big Ten West schools. Northwestern is at 46. Kansas State, we just talked about, is at 54. Again, they develop their players over time. And then Nebraska right now comes in at 69. But again, we're going to see what happens over time because Nebraska's kind of taken that swing for the fences approach. I have a feeling they're going to go deep in the count with a lot of these guys that they're trying to recruit. Iowa 23. Seems about right. They're top 25 year in and year out. Don't expect a lot to change. Louisville looks to me like a program that's going to be boom or bust. They're either going to do really, really good or they're really going to struggle. Being in the ACC helps them. I got no problem with them at 24. BYU, 25. Think about this. Louisville, 24. BYU, 25. No Nebraska. What are your thoughts on no Nebraska in this top 25 over the next couple of years? It's projections. We know that. Just roll with the topic, folks. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think they're the only ones to be offended. Again, I would maybe change like Texas Tech, NIL type of funds. Might put them up in that conversation. Texas A&M, just always kind of seems like they would be there. I think it's fair. It's been now 10 years, 10 seasons in a row. Iowa's had 8 or more wins outside of the COVID year when they were 6-2, still projecting that. That's consistency there for Iowa. But for Nebraska, I kind of get it. I mean, apparently Adam Rittenberg hasn't heard about the year 3 for Matt Rule, so so maybe that's why he's left this out. But it is, I hate to say this because I think there's a lot of reasons to believe that Nebraska could take that step this year, and we're all waiting for it. And like I said, year 3, Dylan Riley, Dana Holgerson, all this sort of stuff. But there is a bit of a boom or bust element that I kind of feel or fear going into the year as well. I don't want to put this out there, but we've been there before. You've lost openers to Illinois, to Northwestern that have taken down your season. You thought you were going to win those going into that game. Nebraska loses to Cincinnati out of the gate. All those great feelings that we have going into the year are kind of evaporate. And then, can they pick themselves up? And, the bounce back ability is going to be important. So if I did have Nebraska in here, they'd be 24th or 25th. So I can't be that offended.
I actually don't hate it. I mean, coming into this season, I don't know if I'd have Nebraska top 25. For the next 2 years, I would, but I don't hate it. Let's go earn the freaking thing. Andy Jurassic texted me, no Colorado on this list. And then he reminded me yesterday, because I had said, is this the first ever Wednesday show we've done on the ticket? We did a Wednesday show the week of my birthday because we swapped days that week as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hour 2 of the Adam Carriker Show when we return.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Now's the best time to lock in early order savings on a new John Deere planter from Landmark Implement during the early order program. Plan for success with the latest technology. including Exact Emerge high-speed planters that help you cover more acres with greater precision and productivity. Order your planter for next year now to unlock the biggest savings of the season. Contact your local Landmark location today and experience the Landmark difference.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Be at the 32nd Annual Chesticle Festival for live music, hot nuts, and meet Buster the Bull. It's at Round the Bend Steakhouse in Ashland, June 14th from 11 to 10. Take I-80 exit 426, roundthebendsteakhouse.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime and so much more when you join today. You heard that right. Conquer the stair climber with your partner in climb. Enjoy a post-workout recovery session in the hydro massage and do it all again with access to any of our 2,700 convenient locations. So, you coming? Get all the perks with the PF Black Card for $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Hurry! You won't want to miss this exclusive offer. Deal ends June 13th.
See Club for details.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Are you buying a home? Westgate Bank understands that you need to make important decisions during your home buying journey. Our local lenders in Lincoln and Omaha make themselves available so you can get the information you need to know. Use our mobile mortgage app to manage your transaction from pre-qualification to closing, no matter where you are. Get the service and convenience you want from a local community bank where our interest is you. Learn more and visit us online at westgate.bank. Westgate Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to hour 2, numero dos of the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Well, my notes are all over the place. I have bad handwriting, so that's a recipe for disaster. Good thing I have kind of an idea what I want to talk about. Actually, Jake and I are very, very well prepared. We got Nebraska's defense, overlooked and vital. Let's discuss that, shall we? Entitled fan bases in the country. We're going to play a clip. It pokes fun at Nebraska fans. You can't laugh at yourself. Well, I don't know. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. But they poke fun at 20 total schools, and I just thought it was pretty funny. And then the Big Ten odds. ESPN predicts how they think the Big Ten will finish 1 through 18. Where do they have Nebraska? What odds do they give us to compete for a Big Ten title? And I know some folks are going to be like, why are we even talking about that? It's a great question. It's the offseason. It's, June. So we have some fun here. A couple thoughts, though. DP popped his head in during the break, made some great points. When it comes to SMU, when it comes to Arizona State, other schools like Kansas State, a lot of money being spent. And this is credit to DP. He shared this info with us, so I'm going to share it with you fine folks. A lot of money being spent at these places, a lot of money being spent at these schools, and they're going to be able to do things they haven't been able to do before. They're going to be able to acquire players they haven't been able to acquire before, which is going to put them in the conversation and the types of games and win-loss columns that they haven't typically been in before. Hence why you see SMU and Arizona State, and I think DP said Kansas and Kansas State are 4th and 6th in the country when it comes to amount of money they're spending on their football programs. I'm not shocked about SMU. I'm not shocked about Arizona State. I'm not shocked about Kansas State when it comes to spending money on football. Kansas? I thought they only spent money on basketball. I'm not even making a joke. Like, that is their priority, right?
Yeah, usually it is. They've had a little bit of football success, though, so maybe having tasted that, they're a little bit more into it. I know they were definitely working on overhauling, and I don't know, how much of this spending would factor in that. I don't know if they're just talking about roster, but that they're kind of overhauling their stadium to a degree to fit more people because more people want to go.
I remember I just got a text about the last time SMU spent a lot of money on football. They got in trouble with certain things. That was a while ago. Lightning and thunder. If anybody gets that reference, that's very impressive. Do you get the reference, Lightning and thunder at SMU? Dickerson and James, running backs. Yeah. That's like 1984. It's like the year I was born, dude. All right. Couple of thoughts before we move forward. Well, one thing, when it comes to spending and $20.5 million being the cap and the revenue and all that schools can now spend on sports, what about these schools that don't have football? The basketball. Like, how much of an advantage is that in basketball that they can spend X amount more money on their basketball team? Now, they're not getting the revenue from football because they don't have a football team, but they also don't have to spend the money on football. Like, am I crazy? Maybe there's a rule that's out there that I'm not aware of, and they can only spend X amount if you don't have a football team to spend it on. But I haven't heard of this rule if it does exist. If you've got that much more money to spend on basketball, dude, that's a huge advantage. Am I nuts in thinking about this way?
Yeah, but I do. I have to look into it too because I don't know the exact numbers, but I don't think that they're. I'd have to look at where it's good because we're gonna have to know. Creighton would be the team that immediately comes to mind, or the Villanovas of the world, the St. John's. But I don't know if they're that 20.5. That's more of like a Power 4 type of settlement and deal. So I don't know where that leaves teams without football programs and how much they can spend. But obviously, more of the focus is going to be basketball if it's those type of blue blood type of teams.
Think about Gonzaga. You talk about Creighton. That would be more money for baseball, more money for volleyball, more money for every sport out there. Just a thought. And this was proposed to me. You want to make the NBA more interesting? Make every team in the NBA have at least one player on the team that's 5'5" or less. Make that a mandated rule. There is a whole bunch of people who just heard that and love that idea, and they're like, I'm immediately going to try out for the NBA. Like, they just got really excited about the possibility of that rule being implemented. A whole bunch of people are like, I could have an NBA career now. Jake, you going to try for an NBA team if that rule gets implemented?
I would. I'm a little tall, I think, for that.
Oh, you're too tall?
Yeah.
Is that the problem? All right.
Maybe 5'10" and under would be a better rule there.
No, 5'5". I like 5'5". I just like the 5'5" thing. All right. Nebraska's defense. Overlooked this offseason? I think so. Is it disrespectful in any way? No. Only so many things can catch the headlines. The headline is Dylan Raiola coming back, Dana Holgorsen being the OC, Mike Eckler. All right, who Matt Rule mentioned, he almost didn't hire because he didn't want, quote-unquote, a superstar coach. Like, he didn't want distractions. Mike Eckler is too good of a candidate, had to bring him in. He's here. You've got all the transfer portal news. You got all the skill position guys. You got some of the offensive linemen that we brought in, from Rocco Spindler to Elijah Pritchett, etc. You look at the running back spot, and it's I'll be honest with you. I've looked at a lot of these preseason lists and projecting the best running backs in the Big Ten, the best running backs in the country. I kind of feel like Emmett Johnson's being overlooked. I want to save that topic for tomorrow. I won't go so far to say he's being disrespected, although that word did enter my mind a couple times, but he's being overlooked. But you look beyond Emmett on the depth chart, and we've discussed this, who can we trust? And so because of all these discussions, new punter, who's going to kick? We got 3 kickers fighting it out for the job now. New long snapper. I feel like the defense has been overlooked. Do you think it's a situation where we have so many question marks just based on guys who haven't played enough to prove themselves, so we don't have a whole lot of proven players in certain spots? People almost just kind of want to avoid it and don't want to talk about it? Do you think it's that? Do you think there's just too many questions and unknowns? Or is it just, we want to talk about offense and this other stuff? What do you think it is? Because the defense has not been talked about that much.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of both. Obviously, you want to talk about what needs to get fixed, offensive and points, and Dylan Raiola, that whole thing. I mean, that's kind of the Dylan Raiola arc is where, Nebraska's overall as a football team is going to be closely tied with altogether. You get the excitement of Dana Holgers. You mentioned all the reasons why the offense is exciting to talk about, but the defense, I think it's kind of parts unknown, right? I mean, it's like, yes, you've got a veteran taking over, a guy that's been a defensive coordinator before in the Big Ten, but it's been a long time. His group last year maybe didn't do as good as the previous year. And then there's kind of just some new faces. And I think a big part of it too is you just don't have a leader of it, at least as far as like, hey, there's our best player. Last year it was Ty Robinson, Nash Hutmacher. We know those guys up front. Tommy Hill maybe didn't have the season we thought he would, but there were guys that you could point to that say that's the best defender. This year, I can say a few names, but I can't say it with clarity about who's Nebraska's best players on defense. Well, not like, I could name 2 or 3. I'm saying defensively, here's your best number 1 and 2 defenders.
Here's your clear leader. Here's the guy it's pretty obvious. Like it was last year, it was going to be Ty and Nash. As the season evolved, it definitely was Ty, and Nash played good football as well. I remember when Dylan, this was like an early spring press conference. He listed the guys he considered leaders on the team. Marquez Watson-Trent was one guy that he mentioned. And this is a guy who just got here this offseason, but a guy who has played a ton of football, a ton of experience, and a guy who needs to be a leader on this defense, regardless of how long he's been here. Because of his experience, he is a tackling machine. We have so many new faces along the D-line. Yeah, we are athletic on the second level. Young. He's going to be the most experienced guy on that second level. Dawson McCullough, okay, wherever they end up moving him around to, whatever they end up doing with him. And in the secondary, we've got a lot of guys with a lot of experience. Is there a guy that you can point to right now and you're like, hey, let's put him on the opponent's best receiver, or I know he's a really good safety? Like, there's no question. This is the guy at safety. This is the guy at corner. Do we have that per se just yet?
I wouldn't say so. And you almost, I don't want to say it in a negative way, because you've got a good group of guys in Deshaun Singleton and Buford and Hartzog. But I think that you kind of know what they are now. Like, not that they can't get better, but the expectation for them to jump after having seen them all play for like 2 or 3 years to all of a sudden they're going to be 1st or 2nd round picks next year is probably not all that realistic. I think Sierra Wright might not just be the best of that secondary, but maybe the whole team. If I'm thinking who do I have the most confidence in that defense to get their job done, I think it's Sierra Wright. But then you look at the other side of the corner, I have no clue who's starting there. There's going to be a lot of guys battling for it, but I don't know who's going to be opposite of Sierra.
Rumor and innuendo is Sierra's pretty upset about people bashing Space Jam earlier. That's just the rumor and innuendo that I've heard. Hope people know that I'm mostly kidding. You look at, all right, I'm looking at this here. Andrew Marshall's a guy potentially to start at the other spot at corner. Let me see. The name has escaped. Bly Hill. That's who I was trying to think before he got hurt. He was projected to start. A guy who's about, what is he, about 6'1", 6'2"? Like, he's tall for a corner but can move. So we got guys who are in that conversation. Now, to be clear, we're not saying we don't have guys who can play in the secondary. We just don't have clear-cut guys that we know they're going to be the starters. That's all we're saying. And Rule even talked about, hey, we could have 3, 4, 5 different starting combinations because there's that many guys who can potentially contribute and start. We just don't know which combination is the best one yet. The coaches probably don't know. They're trying to figure that out. That's why you have fall camp coming up. what I was getting at is Marquez Watson-Trent needs to be, if not the leader, a leader. First of all, probably going to play the Mike linebacker position, so you're the guy probably making most of the calls, at least in the huddle. You're the guy in the middle of the defense, second level right in the middle, and you've got a ton of experience, pretty much a freaking tackling machine, and you got some young, talented guys around you who are going to be learning and growing, and they're going to be finding out what it's like to play down in and down out, day in and day out. Okay, and that's a bit of a learning process. So for me, I look at our defense, again, up front, Keona Davis, Elijah Judy, Cam Lenhart, all right, Riley Van Poppel, Jalen George is going to be back to transfer. He was banged up this spring. Gabe Moore came in from Mississippi State. Williams and Worry going to be coming off the edge in some way, shape, or form. He may be a guy who develops as the season goes along, has the physical ability to impact day one, but there's more to playing football than just physical ability. And he could be a guy that has a great camp and is like, boom, right out the gate, he's making an impact. He could be a guy that improves as the season goes along. Again, these are all questions. We don't know. You look at Dawson McCullough. The dude's a physical freak. You see him in person, you're like, whoa. Like, I was like, whoa. Like, I just looked at him and literally, I was like, whoa. Like, I said it under my breath so nobody could hear me because there was a bunch of people, but he's a physically impressive dude. Big, size, like, clearly he's been in the weight room and can move well. Banged up a little bit at Oklahoma. A guy that can do several things. He can cover, he can tackle, he can get after the quarterback. I know at one point, and this was early on in the offseason, Rule said something about having him come out off the edge. I don't know what their plan is exactly at this point. This was pre-spring ball. Obviously, they've had a lot of practices, a lot of time. Since then, things can change. The thought of Williams and Worry and Dawson McCullough, who are two of the most physical freaks we have on this entire team, coming off the two edges, if they're ready at all to do so, that is an exciting proposition. Are they ready? Where are they at in this process? I don't know. But if they're ready to do so, like let's say game one would be optimal. Let's say the Michigan game. Okay, let's say we beat Cincinnati. Let's say we are 3-0 heading into Michigan, which is very realistic. And they're ready. That's like a month into the season. That could be, I mean, that's a very exciting proposition. But the question is, who's going to be the other starting corner? Across from Zaire Wright, Andrew Marshall, Bly Hill. Who else is in that rotation that Rule talked about at the safeties? Do guys end up locking down spots so you don't rotate guys as much because you have clear-cut starters? Who steps up on the defensive line? We know the guys we expect. Again, Keona Davis, Elijah Judy, Cam Lenhart, some of these other guys, Riley Van Poppel. Who's going to step up and add depth on that second level? I haven't brought it up because it's like the one level I'm like, yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Vincent Shavers. All right, Willis McGahee. Dawson McCullough is going to be moved all over the place. Marquez Watson-Trent. Youth. So expect some youthful mistakes and freakish athletic ability, which is why I've used the uncommon word that are used for defensive players, and that word is explosive. Because we're explosive on the second level of the defense. So there's going to be some youthful mistakes, but there's going to be just some explosive plays made by the defense. And I honestly just kind of love saying that with the defense because you never hear that. I'm a defensive guy. I like explosive things in general. So I don't know. Those are kind of my thoughts on the defense. I just feel like it's not been talked about very much. And I don't know if you directly pointed this out while you were talking earlier about why people haven't talked about it as much. One thing that kind of popped into my head, I wonder, like, we just expect them to continue to be good because they were 11th in the country 2 years ago, 18th in the country last year. I mean, even if they step back a little bit, could they be top 25? Be the 25th overall defense in the country with the improvements that we expect on the other two sides of the ball. Do you think people we can have a pretty freaking good football team, especially if we take care of the ball and learn how to make more plays late in the fourth quarter. But I kind of wonder if people aren't talking about it because they're like, oh, our defense has been solid, no concerns. We're just going to keep moving forward regardless of the names. Do you think people kind of just assume the defense is going to be decent? Because you pointed this out to me during the break. And as much as I would love this to be true, was I or was I not very surprised when you told me that Greg McElroy has Nebraska's defense just outside the top 10 in his preseason rankings?
Yeah.
Which I would love. But I was surprised to see that at this point in time. I don't know. What do you think here, Jake?
Well, I just think I think it is interesting. I think part of it is the expectation for the defense to stay how it is. I think as much as, Coach Rule's talked about before the flashy hire and how he wasn't going to make those hires. And then an offensive coordinator and special teams. I mean, these are very much celebrity hires. And then at the defensive coordinator, it was not, right? It was John Butler, a guy that was on staff. When he was brought in, I think people were kind of impressed with him. But I think that probably is part of, if you would have went out and got a big name, then we're kind of thinking, okay, what they can do here and there. But the other thing is they're kind of, Butler didn't really run the 3-3-5 at Penn State, I don't believe. I think they ran elements of it with the Bills, but they're going to continue that. And so I think that gives people some questions. But you got to remember, too, I think part of it's just what you're losing up front. I mean, I still think we're going to go back in years from now and think, man, maybe we didn't know what we had in Nash and Ty. And maybe it wasn't, Nash didn't have their best statistical season, but their rushing defense for the last couple of years has been fantastic. Remember, not many teams around the nation can say this, and Nebraska can't say this more years than not. They didn't allow a rushing touchdown at a home game at all last year. So that's going to be tough to do that sort of thing. So I think it's just that there's a bit of an expected drop off. But like you said, you hope that there's, the offense and the defense and the special teams take huge steps forward, that it's not getting in the way of what we expect for this team as a whole to get to those 8 or 9 wins. But if there is no drop off from the defense and then those other side of the ball, step up, then you got a whole nother ceiling you can talk about.
I think you make a great point. To me, when we look at the secondary, I do expect the secondary to be better. Coaches on the same page. You got lots of guys coming back, so at least they're on the same page. How much they improve. If we just had guys running wide open against Illinois and Rutgers. Luckily, the Rutgers guy dropped a touchdown. Okay. I expect less of that. Number one. And if we just have less of that, we're going to be better in the secondary. I think the second level of our defense, the linebackers, et cetera, has the potential to be the strongest unit on this team, or at least the most exciting to watch. Okay. It's really, how do we do when it comes to replacing Ty and Nash? That's really the question. Right? And Jamari's gone too. By the way, all 3 starters are gone. Okay, but that's really the question mark, and that's really the most unproven aspect of this that we don't know about yet. And I can't wait to see how it unfolds. I still remember the first year I was going to start as a sophomore. There was all these questions. Nobody knows. Okay, you don't know what's going to happen. Even as a player, you don't know because you've never been through it before. And that's why I talk about, hey, there's a big difference between taking reps with the 2s and hopping in on nickel, or being on the scout team and all of a sudden you're with the 1s every single day and you're beat up and you're not feeling great and it's hard to walk and it's et cetera, et cetera. And now you got to do a first down, second down, third down. If you're one of those guys who's out there all 3 downs, it's a compliment. Not everybody is. There's nickel packages, et cetera. But these guys are going to learn about it as they're going through it as well. And that's not a bad thing. That's what every player has to learn at some point. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what unfolds. When we come back, Jake, is Nebraska an entitled fan base?
Maybe.
Oh, wow. I'm pausing for effect. I don't know if it's working. When we come back, I think it's a humorous clip. We'll play it. They take shots at a lot of fan bases. And Jake and I will discuss, and you can text us in your reactions as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
At Cordell & Cordell, we focus on representing men in domestic relations cases.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
We recognize that our clients are going through perhaps the toughest time they will ever go through. We understand that everything that's important to them is on the table. Their assets, the role in their children's lives. That's an immense responsibility that our clients entrust us with, and we take that very seriously. We've been trained to do that. We've helped thousands of clients before, and it's our hope that you'll choose to entrust us with what's most important to you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 402-858-3220. That's 402-858-3220. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln, 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's specials through June 24th are $1 off ground beef, 15% off on aprons, 15% off cornhead beer, and buy one, get one 50% off on brats and hot dogs, limit 2. Plus, stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney and Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Summer is here, and it's time for Acres postseason planter parts sale. Save big on all in-stock John Deere planter parts. Get an automatic 10% off your purchase, or get 15% off when you spend $5,000 or more. Buy over $10,000 and get a whopping 20% off. Visit your local Acres location today and stock up on planter parts and save thousands. Hurry, this sale ends August 31st or while supplies last. Acres, your John Deere dealer.
Be at the 32nd Annual Testicle Festival for live music, hot nuts, and meet Buster the Bull. It's at Round the Bend Steakhouse in Ashland, June 14th from 11 to 10. Take I-80 exit 426, roundthebendsteakhouse.com.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
People always ask me, hey, Libby, what fuels you? Passion, competition, the pursuit of greatness? None of those things. Raising Cane's is the only fuel I need. Their cooked-to-order chicken fingers always fills my tank, and the crinkle-cut fries and Texas toast are the perfect top-off for the perfect road trip. So when I'm running on fumes, I always refuel at Raising Cane's. But turns out, not everything's fueled by Cane's. Guess the old girl prefers her sauce unleaded. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. I have a feeling Jake is about to turn heel on Husker Nation. All right. As far as Nebraska fans being entitled, I'll give my quick take. When you think about how passionate Nebraska fans were for such a long time, okay? Nebraska was winning games. There's no other pro sports team in the state. It became about Nebraska, Nebraska football, Nebraska sports. Probably Husker football centered on it the most. And you'll talk to other people. I just talked to a guy the other day who moved in from out of town. This is even post 90s. He goes, man, it is just all about Nebraska football around here. Like his eyes just got, and he's been here for 20 years now. His eyes just got huge as he was talking about it. I think it surprises people. In my opinion, where Husker fans actually showed without a shadow of a doubt they're the best in the country is when the wins became fewer and farther in between. For me, that's when you go to a USC or I don't mean to jab at other schools. You go to other schools and all of a sudden you're going to see a noticeable drop in people paying attention and in attendance. And the sellout streak still lives on. You can say whatever you want about certain things here and there. It still lives on. It doesn't matter if we're playing Timbuktu, U, or Michigan. The stadium's going to be full. There's been obvious frustrations and times that Husker fans, they're passionate. And that's the difference. If it's a bad loss, I've been other places. There was a place that I played where you just wouldn't hear much because people just move on. They wouldn't talk about it. When I went to D.C., that's a passionate fan base. You have a bad loss, that thing is talked about 24/7, 365 till you get to play football again. Like that was passion. And so that's what I see with Husker fans. Like if you're losing, that's when you find out if you got a passionate fan base. Now you don't want people to get crazy, go over the top. But that's when you find out, are they passionate? Do they care? Or do they just check out and move on? And that's where I actually think Husker fans have shown without a shadow of a doubt, they are the best fans in the country. And then my goodness, Iowa has Caitlin Clark, the number one attraction in the world when it comes to basketball. Play a basketball game, women's basketball game in their football stadium. Over 60,000 people. That is phenomenal. Nebraska plays a volleyball game. 93,000 people sets a world record. Like, to me, that's where I'm at. So when I heard this, it doesn't mean some things pointed out in here aren't funny, which is why I actually thought it was, hey, let's play this. Let's have some fun with this. Let's talk about other fan bases as well. But to me, sometimes national folks or folks outside of Nebraska will look at people in Nebraska like, oh, you're living in the 90s, or oh, you're entitled, or no, we're really passionate and we really want to win. And as long as we are passionate with respect, I see nothing wrong with it, and I'll never apologize for it. That's my take on it. What's your quick take before we play this clip and have a little fun, Jake?
Yeah, like you said, maybe I could turn heel a little bit, but I do think I think you're correct about one thing, and I've said it for a long time.
One thing?
Well, just one thing today. That Nebraska fan base, everybody says we got the best fans in the world. Nebraska has had to put that work in over the last 25 years. And so I really do think that they might be entitled, but I feel like they deserve it. Because that's what you almost come out of this is a lot of the struggles in Nebraska football is just like, man, those fans deserve more. And so, that's kind of one way of looking at it. And I full, heartedly believe that. The other part is just kind of the facts that are around it. Like you said, living in the 90s, I do think that there was a time, and my generation was kind of had one that they kind of went through it, is that we thought 9 wins was a birthright at Nebraska because Tom Osborne was able to do it all those years. Of course, Frank Solich and Bo Pelini, and that one blip of Bill Callahan, that was the most ridiculous thing. I had a co-host who, before he left at the end of the Pelini era, remember there's so much heat on the way Pelini was losing, said that his grandma could coach Nebraska to 6 wins. So it was just kind of thought that was a given that was going to happen. So it's you kind of stuck between two places there, where I do think Nebraska is an entitled fan base. They expect 9 wins. That's maybe more difficult than what we would like to think here in Lincoln. But at the same time, just the fan base is so fantastic that it deserves more than what it's been getting to begin with, even if it's entitled.
I like how you walked both lines there. I thought you did a good job of it, though. All right, man. Let's play this clip. I haven't heard it since I originally heard it a couple of weeks ago. So some of the things I remember, some things I don't. But go ahead and roll it.
Or inflated expectations. Some college football programs act like they deserve a trophy just for showing up. Whether it's delusional fans, unrealistic boosters, or inflated expectations, these schools take entitlement to the next level. 20. Michigan State carries itself like a blue blood, but true national relevance only comes in flashes. 19. Arkansas, perennially just a few plays away from greatness until October reality hits. 18. North Carolina thinks basketball success somehow makes their football program elite. 17. Texas A&M believes oil money and nice facilities should equal titles. Spoiler, it doesn't. 16. Nebraska, still living in the 90s and expecting every coach to bring back ancient glory. 15. Tennessee, Peyton Manning once went there. That's apparently enough to claim SEC supremacy forever. 14. Miami, swagger counts as wins, right? At least that's what Hurricanes fans seem to think. 13. Notre Dame acts like a playoff spot is their divine right, no matter how hard they flop once there. 12. Penn State somehow feels underrated and superior at the same time. 11. Oklahoma. Anything less than 11 wins causes mass panic. Rebuilds? Offensive concept. 10. LSU. Every 3 years equals must-win title. One bad season and it's full meltdown mode. 9. Auburn lives in a constant state of we deserve more, even when things go well. 8. Florida State keeps expecting every season to be 2013 again. Spoiler, it's not. 7. Georgia. Now that they've won, they act like anything less than perfection is unacceptable. 6. Oregon thinks Nike uniforms and money alone should get them into the playoff. 5. USC Hollywood ego meets college football. Even at 8-4, they think they're contenders. 4. Florida. 2 losses? Time to fire everyone. Gators fans have no patience for reality. 3. Ohio State championship or bust. Anything less is viewed as a national tragedy. 2. Alabama. If they don't dominate, the world must be broken. Reload, not rebuild. 1. Texas back every August, irrelevant by November. Entitlement is their true tradition.
So I'm still writing notes from this. Go ahead, give your initial reaction.
Yeah, I thought they did some pretty good stuff there. I like the Peyton Manning one, especially for Tennessee, because it's so true. Even as a fan that's not of Tennessee, when I think of Tennessee, I think of Peyton Manning and those glory days. So it's kind of funny to think about that. Some of those things tested a little bit, right? Notre Dame has had a long history of complaining or getting its way into the playoff and then not, and then embarrassing themselves. This past year, hey, look at what they did. Made it all the way to the championship game. So some of these things, it's kind of fun to see how they go, and maybe it can change. Maybe you can change those thoughts within just 1 year and one successful playoff run, or maybe that will kind of stick around and be the outlier for the Golden Domers.
All right, so the ones that stood out to me, number 17, Texas A&M, oil money equals championships, right? All right. Number 16 was us. We already talked about us. You pointed out number 15, Tennessee. Peyton Manning once played there, so they're owed everything, correct? Number 14 was Miami. Swagger equals championships, right? I played with a lot of Miami guys in D.C., from Portis to Moss. Oh, there was Buchanan was the first-round DB. He actually played in the 0-1 Rose Bowl versus Nebraska. It was like 4 Miami guys when I was there. Penn State is underrated and overlooked at the same time. I was like, wow, that's a lot of truth to that. All right, number 6 was Oregon. Nike money should equal championships alone. Number 2, Alabama. I remember, oh, man, I was just out of college. I think Alabama had just lost to Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. So they ended up 10-3, and one of their fans just went on a rant. You got to keep in mind, Saban won 3 national titles after this, but just went on a rant about how Saban was done. The program was dead. Seriously, the sky was falling like Chicken Little, went on this rant. And I don't even remember what he said about Texas, but he put Texas as the number 1 most entitled fan base. So that was kind of my favorite part of the entire thing there. All right. Any other final thoughts there?
No, I'm glad you pointed that out. And it does. It's just so fun because a lot of that was a good job of kind of describing a lot of those fan bases. And it's fun that they, you kind of get known for that stuff and it kind of sticks to your program for a while. So, again, like I said, some of that stuff can be challenged year to year, but a lot of it kind of sticks around.
Yeah, you got to be able to laugh at yourself, too, and have some fun. I came across the top 50 most miserable fan bases in all of sports as of 2025. I would have never in a million years guessed number 1, but it has to be because of the Luka Doncic trade, which they're now going to do all right with the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. The Dallas Mavericks. Really? Haven't they just won championships recently? Am I crazy about it? Anyway, they had them number 1. Dallas Cowboys, number 2.
Tough time to be in Dallas. Right?
Yeah. Oh, man, I didn't even realize. I haven't put that together. Top 2 teams. Oakland A's at number 3.
Oh.
That's fair. The Rockies are at 20, by the way. They're probably going to climb this list pretty quickly. Number 4 was A&M, oil money. 5, the Jets, Jets, Jets. That sounds fair. Number 6 was Oregon State and Washington State tied. I'm not going to lie. I do feel kind of bad for those fan bases. That was actually a good one right there. Oklahoma was 7. I was like, I don't know about that. 8 is the Anaheim Angels. Okay. New York, the Giants. Now, they have recent Super Bowls. Some of these, I'm like, we're at 10. Nebraska's at 10. Do you agree with us being one of the top 10 most miserable, like, unhappy fan bases in the country? Or in all sports? It seems strong.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't that category, not specifically, but I kind of see what they're doing there. It's kind of like a tortured fan base that, a lot of those that can't win or live up to the expectations that's there in that market. So I mean, I see what they're saying. I wouldn't describe it that way because we're generally pretty happy, I guess. I don't know.
Top 10 seems strong to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the Rockies below us right now. Like, I don't know. The Rockies are going to do epically, historically bad things this year. USC at 11. Don't agree with that. The Browns at 12. I can live with the Browns at 12. That seems about right.
The more I think about it, the more I kind of appreciate Nebraska. Usually Nebraska is kind of overlooked, and the more. But this be up in the top 10 is recognizing that yes, the Nebraska once was great.
You're happy that we're top 10. All right.
Yeah.
The Mets at 13. I don't know enough about the Mets to agree or disagree with this. I just look at them as the Yankees' little brother. I don't know. That probably doesn't throw you as a Red Sox fan. All right. I definitely cannot speak on hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs, so I'm not even going to pretend like I can speak on that. The Phoenix Suns. I grew up liking Barkley and Dan Marley and Kevin Johnson, and I thought they were going to beat the Bulls in those finals, and then Steve Kerr hits that game-winning shot in Game 6 and put that away. Gonzaga at 16. Really? Utah at 17, have a hard time with that. Arkansas at 18. I could see Arkansas being frustrated with, and maybe they'll win a national title in baseball this year. But I think this came out before the World Series field was set. I could see Arkansas being frustrated with Texas and A&M. They haven't won an SEC title. I don't think they played for an SEC title since like 96 or something. I think they played Florida. I could be wrong. The Oakland Raiders, I know my son is frustrated as a Raiders fan. He's very frustrated. Rockies at 20. Panthers at 21, Michigan State 22, Padres 23, UCF at 24? No. They're a Power 4 school now.
Yeah.
They have a fictitious national title just in 2017. Arizona Cardinals, maybe. Sacramento Kings. I forgot they even had a basketball team. Since Chris Webber, that's fair.
Remember, they had Halliburton before they traded
That's
him to the
right.
Pacers.
Oh, man. All right, the Colts. Then you've got, I don't even know what that logo is. It's like a ugly Jaguar, but it's not Jackson. I don't know what that logo is. The 76ers next on the list. Florida State. Oh, come on. Well, you go undefeated, you get snubbed. Then you have what happened last year. Ooh, okay. I can get with them being at 30. 31 is Texas Tech. I think they've got some things to look forward to, though. Stanford, USF. Has USF, have they ever been good enough to be frustrated about losing? That'd be my only question.
Not really, yeah.
Auburn, I guarantee. I mean, they actually beat Alabama every so often and play them tough. Maybe they don't like being viewed as Alabama's little brother. Maybe they get that sometimes. I don't recognize the logo at 35. Ooh, I think it's the Guardians, Cleveland Guardians. All right. Cincinnati at 36. The Steelers at 37. They just got Aaron Rodgers. They're excited. Minnesota at 38. Never won a Super Bowl. Haven't played in a Super Bowl in. Did they play in one of the early ones? I know they have NFL championships, but was that pre-Super Bowl?
Yeah, that might be. I'd look it up real quick.
I remember, was it 90? I think it was 98 when they were the big-time favorites. They were like Randall Cunningham, Chris Carter. I think they had Randy Moss. They lost one game the entire regular season, NFC championship, home field advantage, and the Atlanta Falcons come in and Dirty Bird all over the place, end up winning the NFC title game, and then they go get mollywopped by the Broncos in the Super Bowl. My brother-in-law is a big Vikings fan, and that still makes him mad to this day.
So they lost the Super Bowl 4 times in 70, 74, 75, and 77, but never won it.
So that's what it is. Okay. They did not do 4 in a row like the Bills, though. Ooh, Bills are not on here. Bills got to be on here.
Wow, yeah.
Bills got to be on here. Again, do not recognize the logo. This is all sports teams. I do not know every sports team's logo. Do not recognize the logo at 39. 40 is Jacksonville Jaguars. That makes sense to me. 41 Memphis. Let's see. Let's skip down. The Pelicans, the Bucks. Yeah, I wouldn't put the Bucks on here. University of Washington, Miami, the White Sox. I could get behind that. All right, Jake Sorensen at number 50 is the Dolphins. The Dolphins, my friend. 50th most miserable fan bases in all of sports per the year 2025. All right. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we shall talk about more happy things.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's specials through June 24th are $1 off ground beef, 15% off on aprons, 15% off cornhead beer, and buy one, get one 50% off on brats and hot dogs, limit 2. Plus, stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see mainly sunny skies, be breezy and hot with an afternoon high near 91. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a light breeze, low near 64. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies and light winds. Another hot afternoon with a high near 92. I'm meteorologist Kyle Buck from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Be at the 32nd Annual Testicle Festival for live music, hot nuts, and meet Buster the Bull. It's at Round the Bend Steakhouse in Ashland, June 14th from 11 to 10. Take I-80 exit 426, roundthebendsteakhouse.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and the hail sale has been a huge success, but is winding down. We still though have several units with huge discounts. Plus, we have brand new Sierras, $14,000 off list, or starting at $37,105, or 0.9% APR on select new models. Yes, you heard right. $14,000 off or 0.9% APR on new Sierras starting at $37,105. So please check us out at cobblecars.com. All deals with roof credit, stock number G289358.
Summer is here, and it's time for Acres postseason planter parts sale. Save big on all in-stock John Deere planter parts. Get an automatic 10% off your purchase, or get 15% off when you spend $5,000 or more. Buy over $10,000 and get a whopping 20% off. Visit your local Acres location today and stock up on planter parts and save thousands. Hurry, this sale ends August 31st or while supplies last. Acres, your John Deere dealer.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
People always ask me, hey, Livy, what fuels you? Passion, competition, the pursuit of greatness, none of those things. Raising Cane's is the only fuel I need. Their cook-to-order chicken fingers always fills my tank, and the crinkle-cut fries and Texas toast are the perfect top-off for the perfect road trip. So when I'm running on fumes, I always refuel at Raising Cane's. But turns out, not everything's fueled by Cane's. Guess the old girl prefers her sauce unleaded. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final segment of today's show. Jake, do you think there's any way under God's hot sun we're going to get through 1 through 18 of how the Big Ten's going to unfold this year in 4 minutes?
I'm sorry, but probably not.
When I say it's a loaded show, ladies and gentlemen, it's a loaded show. So we're going to push that topic to tomorrow so we don't have to rush through it. We can do hopefully a somewhat mediocre to slightly below average job on giving some analysis on that. All right, Jake, I have something in front of me, and you've got something. Why don't you start with what you've got? We'll go through these 2 topics pretty quickly. What do you got here?
Well, I just want to ask you, haven't been in the NFL. There's a video going around on Twitter or, I guess the internet, one way or the other, of Deebo Samuel looking out of shape with the Commanders. Remember, he was traded from the 49ers this past year. George Kittle tweeted out on behalf of his former teammate, it's called group install. When players jog through plays, knock it off. So is there reason to be worried about Deebo Samuel maybe not looking so fast in a Commander's uniform? Or is this more of people not knowing what was going on with that route?
I think it's a little bit of both. Group install, you're jogging. You are jogging. We'll do this thing called walkthroughs. Guess what we do? We walk through. There's this thing called group install where you jog through. And then you ramp it up. You got 9-on-7, you got full team, you got blitz drill, you got one-on-ones, you got all these different things. There is different tempo for different things because you can't go 1,000% all day, every day. So there's other ways to get better at your craft, which involve mental reps, which involve walking through things, which involve jogging through things. I wouldn't be uber concerned about this. I was a little surprised to the amount of the reaction, but George Kittle is 100% correct in its group install, its jog through, chill out maybe just a little bit. If you're a Commanders fan, you did notice that Deebo didn't quite perform the same last year with the Niners, and you're hoping you get Deebo from 2 years ago, and you're hoping Deebo doesn't, at least comes back up a little bit and doesn't continue to trend downward. So hopefully, if you're a Commanders fan, that's why I say it's fair to be a little concerned, but it's group install, so I'd chill out a little bit to a whole lot of it. It's not that big a deal. I love sports fans, obviously, but sometimes I feel like there's sports fans out there. They're like that older couple that's retired and at home that bring a lot of things to the world, but they don't have a lot going on every day. So sometimes they tend to be the people that complain the most and get the most upset about things, and it's almost like it gives them something to do every day. I feel like that's how the offseason is for certain sports fans. I'm looking for something to get upset about. And not everybody, to be clear, not even the majority, but there are those out there who are just looking for something to latch onto. Go ahead.
Have there been guys or times in your career where there are guys that do show up to camp a little bit out of shape out of shape, but then are fine by end of camp?
Yeah, well, those are the guys, typically the guys that you see that show up early on that you haven't seen all offseason. Typically, they're the vets. And honestly, they're the guys that show up sometimes the most ready to go. The guys that don't show up ready more often than not at the start of camp are the young guys who really don't understand how the process works. And usually about 3 weeks later, they're gone. So not very often does a guy show up kind of out of shape and then get in shape. Okay. And I'll just throw a name out there. Albert Hainsworth was a vet who knew exactly what was going on, showed up out of shape, stayed out of shape, and things went glorious in D.C. with him. We do have another topic, but we need to be out by 55. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's okay. Basically, everybody thinks the SEC has the toughest schedules under God's hot sun. I've got college football strength of schedule rankings per ESPN's top 25. We're going to discuss this more tomorrow. Let's just say there's a whole lot of SEC bias, and they don't even play 9 conference games. They get a third bye week, a.k.a. when they play their bakery schedule, the cupcakes in November right before they play their rivalry games, yet they want to scream and yell at us that they're the best league in the world. But we'll describe and discuss this more tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I do respect the SEC, just not the bias. Till tomorrow. Go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the bones.
People always ask me, hey, Livy, what fuels you? Passion, competition, the pursuit of greatness? None of those things. Raising Cane's is the only fuel I need. Their cooked-to-order chicken fingers always fills my tank, and the crinkle-cut fries and Texas toast are the perfect top-off for the perfect road trip. So when I'm running on fumes, I always refuel at Raising Cane's. But turns out, not everything's fueled by Cane's. Guess the old girl prefers her sauce unleaded. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week and attractive